Ladies and gentlemen, we are live from the Isle of Man in the UK. This is John and Mike's MMA Corner.
I'm joined with the man himself, Elias Theodorou. So I'm joined by yourself and your hair. You know, we have to give your hair a mention because it's almost its own personality.
The elephant in the room.
I know. Thank you for coming on, talking and conversing with me. It's a pleasure to finally get to talk to you one-on-one. We obviously chat on Twitter and have a bit of a joke on there. Let's talk first and foremost about your recently signed fight. But I'm more concerned about the fact that the Canada are finally getting a card back, by the UFC card anyway, because I felt like it's a bit of a while since they've been there, and I think they should put a bit of an effort into their cards in Canada. Obviously, Wonderboy Thompson and Roy McDonald is a hell of a fight anyway. I spoke with James Lynch about not the lack, but the fact that there hadn't been enough action, I feel, in the state in Canada. Do you feel it's possibly because of the Georges St. Pierre going kind of thing that had that effect? Because he.
Oh, of course. Yeah. Of course. It's a vortex. It was a vortex when he left. Especially where I'm from, Toronto, it is the fight capital of the world, but they need someone to root for. And I guess if we're looking at someone like myself that's not quite at that cusp and that household name, it leaves people. Because, again, as much as we love fighting, as much as we love sports, we're fair weather fans. We wanna listen and watch a winner. So when you have, especially when you have what's called homegrown talent, whether it's not even only in sports, but like for instance in music, like you got someone like Drake. Now that everyone else loves him, no, we love him, he's ours, that kind of thing, right? So even with the fight game, it's not that much different. There's a lot of great talent, and you're going to see this card stacked with it. With not only along with my fight, but a bunch of other Canadian fights that were announced the other day. It's going to be a great card. I think you're going to see a slow and steady resurgence. But again, you got to take it for what it is. George sucked up all the oxygen in the room for again, and I don't say that in a disparaging way. I say that in a great way. He is the greatest there ever was. And when that steps away, it takes just like any. I would look at it just like any team. Being Canadian, what's called hockey teams and dynasties come and go because the players eventually retire, and then it takes a little reshuffle for them to get back on top.
Well, I was going to say, because you've got a resurgence in someone like Patrick Cote himself. You know that I was
exactly
like, man, that dude went down to one. He went down to one time and went, I'm just going to kill everyone, and it's crazy how good he's. What is going on there?
Yeah, no. What's called again? He was kind of always the runner-up, you know, never a bridesmaid, always a bride.
Yeah.
If you're going to compare him to George, but he has his own resurgence. Obviously, he has an amazing fight with Cowboy. It's not a top 15 guy in welterweight, but it's a name, and it gets him closer into what he wants to do, become the champ. Again, if all goes well, he will have a couple more fights, and then he should be fighting for the title soon. If you look at it, this will be his third weight class he's tried for a title. 205 against Tito Ortiz, middleweight against Anderson Silva, and possibly the welterweight. So credit needs to be given where credit's due. And luckily, and I'm happy to say that for this camp I will be in Montreal, training with all of them. So I'm looking forward to help the Predator do what he always does. Kick ass.
I think it's a good fight in the sense of, because whenever you fight Donald Cerrone, the thing you're going to get is interest. You're going to get a lot of people looking at it. So, like you say, Donald's not a top 15 welterweight, but what he is, he gets a lot more eyes on the fight than if you were to fight a guy. Maybe if you did fight someone within 10 to 15 rankings, there maybe not be as many eyes on it. So it is actually quite, it does have its swings and roundabouts in that kind of way.
Yep, for sure. And I think. I know, like we've talked about the renaissance with Cote. I think again in this fight, I think we're gonna have to watch. I think what's his name? Donald will probably want to shoot on him. I know that's a random thing to think, especially with Donald Cerrone. But Cote's got a chin that no one can mess with. And if you're gonna go shot for shot with a Predator, you're gonna lose. We saw that in the Josh Burke fight. We saw that fucking Jersey clinic again, talking about us being Canadian, he practically just jerseyed Ben Saunders and just knocked him to oblivion. Just a hockey fight. That's all that was. He's like, I just watched a Montreal game last night, and this is what they did. So again, I think it's a really great fight for Cote, and it puts him further into the place he needs to be, fighting for that belt.
And like you said, you got yourself, you got Cote. I think Chad Laprise, even though he lost that his last bout in a decision, but I see him as he's still developing, and there is some really good, talented Canadian fighters. It's just because when George left, you guys were still on the developing stage. You're not on that stardom stage, let's say, so to speak. You're not top 5, rankings. So you're just a little bit of a gap there was, and that's all it is. I think that's what's happened. And I think after this Ottawa card, I think it will definitely, put out there the guys to look out for within the Canadian kind of fighters.
No, I agree. I totally agree. And then, and it's going to be a great night of fights, and it's pretty cool because Ottawa. I don't know if you're too familiar with the geography. It's right in between both Ontario and Montreal, so you're going to get basically 2 provinces running over there. I can't remember the size of the venue, but I'm sure it's going to sell out. And we have on top of it an amazing card between Rory McDonald and Wonderboy.
Exactly. Who does not love Rory McDonald? The guy who wants to wear your face. It's just he is amazing. No, he is. He's such a. He's actually also. And Wonderboy Thompson. I've had him on before. He's such a gent. He's such a nice guy. Oh, love that guy.
Yeah. No, both of them are sweethearts. I've had the privilege to train with both of them, and they're both amazing in their own right. What's it called? Obviously, knowing Rory a little bit more, I have a little bit more bias for him. But I know that they're both great fighters, and they're both gonna shine in their own right.
Now, you said that you've trained with them. Now, that's something that you've done, which a lot of guys haven't done. I've noticed is you really put yourself around training with top level guys. Chris Weidman being some Nogueiras. Why have you put yourself out there to go and train with these people specifically?
Well, because clearly, as you just stated, I'm really easy, and all you got to do is buy me dinner. No, no. I again, with my job, I love my job. I get to literally travel the world, and as long as I make some arrangements to do some training, I'm still doing work. After this fight, what I want to do is I want to go backpacking around Europe, and as long as I just fit in a couple training sessions every day, we're pretty much still working. So and obviously training with someone like a Nogueiras, there's just the fanboy in me getting the opportunity to train with such legends, and then looking at the wall, and there's all the Pride trophies, the UFC trophy, and just the history and just the knowledge that comes with it. Even though at the time they're obviously past their prime in some way, shape, or form, but the wealth of knowledge that they have is unsurpassable. And the same thing with Weidman. Just to train with him and put myself at a place where I kind of get to see where I compete, where I stood against the world's best at 185. It's refreshing to me, and I'm all about the journey, and it's not about the destination. And so far, the ride's been fucking awesome.
It has been awesome. I'll be honest with you. Looking at your career so far, obviously the only blemish you had was your last bout. Now, let's go and have a little chat about your last bout. If you're all right, are you okay to talk about it?
Yeah, hell yeah.
Yeah.
Hell yeah, I'm proud of it.
Right, now, I was going to say, holy crap, can you take a hit?
Exactly, man. And that's kind of what I look at it. The best way I would describe my last fight, I lost my fight, he didn't win it. I outstruck a 3-time Muay Thai champion. I went in to go wrestle him in the second one, and it didn't quite work. And instead of saying, hey, being cognizant enough and saying, hey, let's do what I did in the first, I was stubborn because I said, hey, I always take people to the ground and then break them mentally and physically and possibly a little sexually. But what ended up happening was I just doubled down on the wrong thing. What you saw was my first bad day at work, and all that happened was it was a close fight. I don't think it was a unanimous decision. I think it was more again, I'm obviously biased, but I think I won the first. I think the second could have gone either way, and I lost the third. That's all that happened. It just proved to me never leaving in the hands of the judges, and also the fact that I've only been doing this for 6-7 years. And where you look at my opponent, who's 32 and has been training since he was 14.
Yeah.
Again, that's what I'm competing against in these guys. Sam Alvey, he is, again, most people after a loss like I had would look for an easier fight. No, I wanted a hard fight. I wanted again, Sam Alvey is 3 times the experience I have. But it doesn't mean anything to me. I think I can still beat him with my athleticism and just my ability to dictate the fight.
Well, I was thinking it was so frustrating watching your last fight because I was sitting there going, like you said there, I was like, why don't you just keep doing what you were doing? Like, I was like, it was, and again, it's stubbornness. And sometimes when you're in the fight, you get that tunnel vision. You know, I've had it as well. I've had the same.
Exactly.
I'm getting success somewhere, then I try something else, and it's just us being blokes. You know, we're just stubborn. We're like, no. And I don't need a map. I know where I'm going. I know what I'm doing. I'll do it myself. And and I'm the same. And it was frustrating. I was watching it going, dude. I was like sitting there going, man, if he just kept doing the first. Now, did it make a difference though with the smaller cage? That's one thing I do find curious because going in, there's obviously the 2 sizes in cages has to make a difference.
It did, but it was not different in my fight, I think. I think if it's 2 heavyweights going in there, it's a huge different thing. But I think my mistakes would have been the same in a big cage or small cage, I think. But again, the underlining issue, or the silver lining in all this is I lost the fight. My opponent didn't win it. I should prove to myself and everyone else that I'm not just a pretty boy. I can take a shot, and there's no quit in me. At no point did I quit in that fight. I kept on going. And that for the long term just helps my fight esteem. That just makes it. That just proves to me that I'm fucking tough as nails. And I feel sorry for the next person that I'm going to be fighting because there's both that confidence now that what he's good at is he has dynamite for hands. He has 17 knockouts, and I can take a punch. And I also know to not again when someone gets hit. You go from your fine motor skills to your, I forget the other one, but basically your big motor skills. So like grabbing something versus using your fingers or whatever like that. So when I got hit, I just resorted to the ape part of my brain, and a lot of it is honestly, to be completely honest, I don't really have the fundamentals as most people. So all my training, like a lot of my coaches were leading into this were quasi part-time, and I have since went back to the drawing board with one of my coaches, my wrestling coach, who has doubled down on me. He's a very successful businessman that makes room for me in his schedule, and he was on the national team, blah, 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 blah. And we've just gone through the fundamentals of wrestling. For the last 3 months, I've learned how to wrestle. So up until now, you've looked at a jack of all trades and a master of none. I didn't do karate when I was a kid. I didn't do jiu-jitsu when I was 10. I didn't wrestle in high school. I literally just after my first year at university said, fuck it, I could do this. And I did pretty well. And up until then, I'd never lost a round and never lost a fight. I became the first Canadian to win the Ultimate Fighter. And I went 12-0. So far, so good. Yeah. And that's what I'm kind of looking at it. And I'm excited because now I get to bring it back home. I know tons of my friends and family that are going to come down, and they're going to watch me beat the shit out of someone. And then we're going to go out for Canadian beers, which are a lot better than American beers, and have a good time.
I am not biased in any way. I'm across the pond, so I don't care about Canadian or US gears. All I know is I like good fights. That's all I know. I like to watch good matchups. Now, like you said, Sam's a counter striker. That's one thing about him. He is dangerous. He's a smart fighter. He'll try to watch your movements and get your timings before he actually throws anything. And with yourself, though, you're the guy who's awkward to get timings with because, like you said, because you didn't do all these martial arts beforehand, you don't have a set basis. So, like, if you were a boxer, you would be a little bit more easier to read, or if you did Muay Thai, you'd be a little bit more easier to read because of your style, but because you didn't have them, I think that's what makes your timings so unorthodox. Like, it looks like you picked up, like you said, you train with X, Y, and Z guys, it looks like you're taking a bit off each one, and you add it to your game, you think about stuff, you try things, and it just, when you're doing it in the fight, it is really awkward. Like when you throw, I know when you throw, sometimes you throw you throw a right straight, and you throw a jab, and you throw the left front head kick straight away with the jab straight after, and it completely throws you off the timing, because a lot of guys will expect a switch kick or something, to get that power of the momentum, but what you do with your kicks is smart, is you're not specifically just wanting to go for the head. You're wanting to throw the leg. You're not even throwing, too much power. You're just letting the weight do itself, because people don't understand how much weight there is in a leg. And you're letting it chop into the arms, chop their arms down. It weakens their arms. So when they go for a takedown on the defense, their arms are weaker. Makes it a bit harder to fight back or clinch work. Little things like that. And you wear guys down, and you're smart with your kicks, because people think you're just throwing them for the sake of it. And I'm like, no, he's wearing a guy down before he initiates the clinch, because you don't start a fight and think, right, I'm going to go straight to the clinch. You like to break them down. I like the way you do it.
Appreciate that. I truly appreciate it. And yeah, that's it. One of my other coaches is a very intelligent individual. Much the same idea. I don't use this because, again, I don't have a lot of the mechanics that someone that's been doing it for a long time has, the fundamentals. When someone resorts back to the jab, the cross, because they've done it a million times. With me, I use a little bit of a different cortex of my brain, and basically I just kind of jump to one to the other. And the interesting thing he says is, if I don't even know what I'm going to do next, how are you going to know what I'm going to do next? And that's what I've been able to really take advantage of, and I'm excited to do it again with this guy. I think with Sam, he's, like you said, he's a counter puncher who, between great reflexes and a little luck, has caught some chins, but he also has 7 blueprints of how to beat him, and that's not even including the Ultimate Fighter. I think I would be the more athletic individual that can really just bounce around him and never give him that opportunity. I think he's been very successful with his 17 knockouts because people rushed into it, but I'm not going to do that.
Now, I listened to the commentary when your fights have happened in the past. I remember Brian Stan. If Brian Stan talks during commentary, I listen, because I love Brian Stan. I had the pleasure of meeting him, handsome bastard, but he's got to be he's got to run for president, and he's one of the guys that I think you'd have him and Tim Kennedy as vice president. It'd be awesome, but I think
Ultimate Savages.
It would be, wouldn't it? I think it'd be epic. But for yourself, he mentioned. Is it? I believe he said your coaches dealt with ADHD and dyslexia, and they did specific things to help with that. If I heard that correctly?
Yeah, no, that's exactly it. What's called, my ADD is very prevalent. I'm a lot of like a squirrel, and even when I'm having a conversation with you guys, I'm actually typing away on my computer, ready to tweet. So I'm literally all over the place, and then that comes off, and again, a lot of my tweeting. The dyslexia is more a tracking thing. So if I read something that someone else puts for me, and because of the amount I tweet, you'll see a spelling mistake here and there, because again, I think I'm funnier than I actually am sometimes. So I'll just like blurt it out without thinking. I'm like, okay, we'll chalk that one up as a miss. But no, what I was going to say is, and I think that's my biggest strength and my biggest weakness is my inability to color in between the lines. And for me, it's just the ability, and that translates again in my style, my awkward style, where like most people use different parts of their brains that, again, they have a foundation to set what their decision making is, and sometimes they don't really know it. With me, I don't have that, and mixing my ADD, I see things and I go for it, and it's without the hitting the best of the layman's term, again, because I'm going to screw this up. The layman's term, let's say if it takes three steps to get from thought and action, it only takes me 1 to 1, right? Like again, with my ADD, I just go thought in. I don't even think about it. It's like, oh, there it is, right? I think with Sam, I think he's very flat-footed, and he's going to look for things, and like you said, he's going to try and understand my pattern. But like I've said, if I don't even know what I'm going to do, how's he going to know?
Yeah. Well, I think that's what got him the knockouts, in the sense, because like I said, he's flat-footed. Being a flat-foot, that does make a difference with the punching power. When you're not throwing a punch and cutting off to another angle, and you're just staying there. Like, look at Frankie Edgar when he knocked out Chad Mendes. The reason why he ended up finishing Chad is because Frankie didn't do what he usually does. He ended up staying a little bit more flat-footed through that, and that was what threw everyone out. I was shocked in that fight. I was like, holy crap. I literally predicted it the other way around. If it was going to end in a knockout, I'd be like, no, Chad would knock him out, and then if it's going to be, and it just shocked the world. But that is what people don't know. It's subtle differences, and like you said, it was Sam, the flat foot will make a difference in that fight. That's what gets the knockouts, and that's one of the things you've probably got to be aware of. That you maybe got to think, right, maybe I need to get him off his being flat foot, maybe get him on the back foot there, make him be going backwards with my attacks, then cut off on the angles, and he hasn't got time to get the shot in.
Yeah, and again, he's a great fighter. He is. Yeah. I think he has 17 knockouts, 25 in total fights, with 7 losses. He's experienced. He's the more experienced guy. He's seen a lot more things. But I think what benefits me is the fact that the 7 blueprints to beat him show that it's when someone's more athletic, when someone bullies him, and that's what I think I have going for me into this fight. He's flat-footed, but I plan on to put him on his heels in many different ways, whether it be a takedown, whether it be unorthodox strikes, whether it be just not being in a place that he once was. I think he's in many ways a one-trick pony, but he's great. He's a great fighter all around. I'm not taking anything away from him, but I think he looks for one specific thing, so I'm just not going to give it to him.
So look, you recently had Aljamain Sterling hang out with you. Why did that come about? Because I love Aljamain. Had him on the podcast. Top guy. Is that because of your trip to training with Chris Weidman? How you two met?
Yeah, no. It started off there, and also Exos. We met at not Exos. The UFC summit. So the UFC brought like 50 of their fighters, and we hit it off. Went out for a couple drinks. Blah 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 blah. And then I went down to Chris Weidman's camp, trained with him, and then I also brought one of my sponsors, Mile Detox. They're world-renowned, physiotherapists. They're actually becoming huge. They're going to explode in the next little bit. They're from Canada, but they're opening up their own. They're opening up their one in LA. They have a couple of ones in different parts of the states. Their goal is to have 700. Physio clinics, so they're going to be huge in the next little bit. But they again, a lot of it was when Aljamain was kind of going through the negotiations, going in between it. They're like, man, this guy's a star. We think he can become the best, and we want to be behind him. So essentially, after he defeated that guy with ease in many ways, his last opponent, and became now the 4th best in the world, and he's only 26. They believe in him, I believe in him, so they brought him down, and we did a whole bunch of content. Again, these guys are about to blow up huge, and they want to put together a whole bunch of stuff between me and him. And all it really showed is why we have weight classes, because I'm such a Goliath next to little Aljamain. It looks like I'm fighting a child.
Yeah. I saw the picture. Yeah, it did look comical. That was another thing about I was going to ask. When you weigh in and then when you fight, I'm telling you, you do not walk into that cage at about 188 pounds. No, you can definitely tell. How is your weight cut then? Because it's a big. It's starting to come to take effect in a lot of fighters. Guys are moving weight classes, the IV band and stuff. Do you have it down to a T yourself? Are you comfortable with? Are you walking around lighter now? How's it going with your side?
Yeah, what's called? I'm walking around 215, and I'm in shape. I've gone with the IV. It allowed you to cheat a lot. The biggest I've ever been is I came down from 235 to 185, and then walked into the cage at 217 the next day.
Oh, I bet that was fun. Oh
yeah, that's why I broke a man's hand in half.
Yeah. I my biggest cut was 202 to 171, and I came back in. I went back into the cage at 189, I think it was. But
nice.
That was horrible. I'd never went. That was my first time down at 170, and I won't lie, it wasn't fun. I didn't like it. I felt like I had AIDS or something. It was horrendous. I had cramp in my hands trying to eat my food. It was.
I feel you.
Oh, it's
No,
terrible.
well, with the last fight, yeah, I noticed a huge difference without the IV. Like my arms felt little till the next day because again, it starts in your midsection and then goes out. So the water and the fluids take time. Whereas an IV, I would do 2-3 IVs and I'm like, I feel like a fucking superhero.
Yeah.
but the underlining aspect is I'm willing to give up the IVs is now that the UFC is cracking down huge on cheating. Like I have nothing to hide. Although, like, let's be real, IVs were essentially accepted cheating. Although I think because we're dehydrating ourselves, I think an actual, like, if we were going to have a real adult conversation, I think IVs should be allowed. It just, USADA would be the ones that would give it out. And if someone wanted to do an IV, they would be the ones that administered it. I think that seems more reasonable because, again, with what differs between boxing and MMA is the huge gap in regards to weight classes. The reason why I don't fight 205 is not because of the weight. I can make myself a comfortable 230 and get down to 205 and fight comfortably. But it's the frame. My body is not the same as a 205er. It just isn't. I lose so much in regards to reach and height and whatever and overall strength. So unless there's more weight classes, I'm going to have to do 185. And I just think if we're going to have an adult conversation about it, the next step would be USADA administered IVs in their room, all observed under them. Like, again, I've been to the Wild West. Like, again, we've all been to those shows where people doing IVs using lampshades. Lampshades is like holding up an IV. Someone just who isn't a registered nurse, just poking and prodding people.
It is. And do you know what? I think you've listened to me repeat what you've. I said that as well about what they should do with the IVs. I don't know why they haven't done it. I don't know why when the ban came in, they said we're banning it, but what we're doing instead is, if you want it, we've got a room there called the blue corner and a room there called the red corner. If you want an IV, you come into whichever blue corner, red corner you are. We got a nurse here. She's going to stick it in there. She'll wear a nice little outfit to make you feel better, and off you go. And then we'll take your blood sample before we put the IV in. Then we take a sample after. Then that way we know, test our IV's clean, and if anything comes back after, it's you being, Mr. Naughty.
Yep, totally agree. But again, that's an honest discussion. But unfortunately, I don't think that will be happening.
No.
Again,
that's just logic. It is logic.
But again, people would find a way to kind of game the system. If you give people an inch, they'll take a mile. I understand all that aspect, but I think you and I are both in agreement, and I think we have the more adult thought process behind it.
Now, with the summit that you went to, was that the one where they taught you about marketing and social media stuff? Like, is that the one you're talking about?
Yep.
Now, how much did you actually take from that then? Like, because obviously I heard about what they were doing there, but I don't know how much. I don't remember any fighters talking about what they got from it. Did you get anything from it yourself?
I know for a fact. Again, what I would say is being a person who has a BA in advertising, creative advertising, shout out CABA alumni, what's it called? A lot of it, again, was just basics that I understand, but I know there are a lot of people that just didn't. And it wasn't just marketing, it was also just like a quick one-on-one on finances and stuff like that. And again, everyone's different. Like, I know some fighters that are completely running their camps on their credit cards and stuff like that. So, like, believe me, like, I may not have. What I got most out of it was meeting the entire UFC. Just the employees, like all the employees, like all the managers, all the this of whatever, like, you know what I mean, like all the actual administrative people from UFC, and having the chance to sit down and talk to them and talk about like where I am and let them know who I am. So when future things do come up, I come up in their mind. Also, again, but there was some important information that was all around, and overall the trip itself was still a plus. I don't see it in any negative. I do think there was a lot of it, even if the basic information, I think there were some people that again, just aren't necessarily that versed in specific topics. Everyone comes from different walks of life, so even if something was rudimentary and obvious to me, I think there were a lot of people that walked away with something very important.
Yeah, I was just curious about your perspective on it, because obviously, like you say, yeah, everyone will take something, and it was more. I know a couple of guys from the UK that went over as well, and because I was thinking to myself, well, obviously you're not going to sit there on social media and say certain things that are going to put your foot in it. Now I know John Jones didn't attend it, but I'm pretty sure he should maybe go to the next one. But that's a whole other conversation now.
Yeah, fair enough.
But yeah, look, Elias, I got to say, I enjoy watching you compete, man. I enjoy watching your social media. Honestly, when fight cards come up and you're not tweeting about them, I'm thinking, where is he? Where's Elias?
Exactly.
I get annoyed, but no, I love what you do, man, and I think you're a person that the fight fans like can connect with in a kind of good way. We kind of I look at you from a fight fan perspective, and you're a guy that people are going to get behind because you're a good fighter. You got a lot of talent in you, and you can see you're still far away from what potential there is in you. That's a scary thing, I think, for fighters in the middleweight division that they don't know about.
I appreciate that. I truly appreciate your kind words and your support as a fight fan. And also, I appreciate the interest in having a conversation with me, and I'd love to do it again.
Definitely. Before I let you go, though, let people know what your social media is, so they can jump on.
It's pretty simple, although there are plenty of vowels in it. It's at Elias Theodorou, both for Twitter and Instagram. The Spartan Elias Theodorou for Facebook and all that jazz. Twitter, obviously, I do the tweeting, and the Instagram, I do the shirtless pictures. So, ladies or gentlemen, I don't discriminate. Go onto the Instagram if you want to see that. The gentlemen, listen to me talk some shit and commentate some fights in the near future on Twitter.
So jump on. I will put the links on the description below when I upload this, ladies and gentlemen. And sponsors, Elias, give a shout out to your sponsors, buddy.
Yeah, again, I'm very thankful for the people that support me. Obviously, I mentioned Myo Detox, HBN, and also Fuel Foods, Tribeca Financial Corporation, and just honestly, thank you all for being there since the beginning. And there's a couple cool sponsors in the works, which I'm really excited for. A couple of them that may involve the hair. So, stay tuned for that.
Awesome. I am looking forward to seeing you under a waterfall, washing your hair, and seeing an advert like that pop up somewhere.
Yeah, it sounds kind of hot, doesn't it?
And and Julie Kedzie will try to get involved in that advert probably.
I'm afraid to actually be in a room with her sometimes. She might just come out of nowhere and just like I don't know. I wake up and I'm what is it called, handcuffed to a what's it called, like that movie where,
Misery.
Steven.
Yeah, Misery.
Exactly. There you go. I'll just wake up like that.
I've got to fight Sam Alvey. No, you don't. No, you don't.
No, you don't, baby. No, you don't. Just petting me. What'd you do to my legs?
Oh, she's awesome. Love her a bit.
She is awesome. I'm teasing.
I love Judy. She's awesome, honestly. Look, Elias, like I said, we will do this again. I'm telling you right now, you are a guy who I will enjoy speaking with many times in the future, and I'm glad we made this happen, and we will make it happen again, my man.